So I think like, with being a real estate agent, you're so used to being social, and that's a good thing, right? Like you can be loud and boisterous and have this really fun time. And I'm like, sometimes there's something that's going on that's supposed to be quiet in the other side. And you're like, okay, thank you so much. Exactly. And then you'll figure out real quick who we got a few that like to take phone calls but don't like to be like sitting still for them. I'm kind of like that. Like if I'm at my house, I'll kind of pace back and forth on the phone. You will start to pick up on who are the really noisy ones. And you're like, oh good, they're making their second laugh. Yeah, you're making your second lap. I'm so excited. Thank you. Thank you for including me as a tour stop. I appreciate that. All right. So you and I actually for right now, it's just the two of us. So we're gonna get started. Hopefully we'll see some more jump online and they can kind of just catch up wherever they're at. But you and I are just gonna take a quick look at kwbresources.com. Because you have your laptop, you have the option of following along on your end, or if you would like to just sit back and watch, there's no wrong answer on how to do it. It's whatever works best for you. So obviously we know that KWB Resources is going to be kind of that hub of all of the tools that you've got available to you through your partnership with us. So we're going to just take a deeper dive today and take a peek at what it looks like. So the first thing I'm going to share with you, just because of where we're on this screen, is the KWB New Agent tab. We click on that. It's going to try and centralize a lot of the immediate information for you. So on this left-hand side under Learn More, you're going to see that. There we go. Okay, we got something. I was like, participants can have you see your screen. I was like, I thought they already could. Okay. Hello to anybody online. I'm sorry I did not catch a name on there, but hello. If you guys are online, if you have any questions as we move through this, you can drop them in the chat unless you would like to unmute yourself. If you prefer to unmute yourself, I'll hear you in the overhead speakers. So I'm happy to answer any questions along the way. Linda, that goes to you too. Feel free to shout out questions as we move through in case you are worried about forgetting it by the end. I always forget my questions. So on this very first thing that we're looking at, this is just kind of an overview of the onboarding process more than anything. It's explaining to you what you can expect as part of that when it goes to the Macromos paperwork. And then we're going to talk about those additional documents I like to ask you guys for as well. And really, it's just kind of giving you a rough idea of what you can expect, who's going to reach out to you, and about what and when. But the biggest reason I like to point this out is because usually when you guys are in this class, you are through your onboarding. So the piece that I like to explain, and I'm going to cut off that last bullet point because it's no longer relevant. We look at the things you can do immediately section at the bottom. The first is we're going to take a look at this website together. The next thing as part of that is we're going to take a peek at our office training calendar. We're also going to speak a little bit more about Ignite, but I know obviously several of us are already participating in Ignite, which is wonderful. It's a great program and it really does kind of teach you what it means to do real estate, because we always say that real estate school did not actually teach us all of that. And then we're going to take a peek at a couple Facebook pages I highly encourage you to participate in if you're not already. And then attending office meetings is another big step in the process, which thank you guys for being here today because this is going to be one of those meetings. So now I'm going to close out of that little checklist. We're right back under that new agent tab here. What you'll see is on the right-hand side, there's a learn more option under basic training. This will actually connect you back to Scott Leroy Marketing's website. Scott Leroy Marketing is obviously who created all of your KW technology. The really neat thing about our partnership with them is that their help and support extends well beyond just that initial process. They are here to be yet another resource for you guys for training, for questions, for assistance with anything. How are you? So when we are looking at Scott Leroy Marketing's website, the reason I kind of show you guys things as we see them, because I think that that's the best flow. So when we're looking at Scott Leroy Marketing, obviously you come across this search bar right away. That's a really neat tool because again, it just kind of helps you to get right to where you're looking rather than having to figure it out on their specific site. What I will especially mention when we're looking at the search bar here is that you guys, for those of us who plan on doing a lot of print marketing for open houses, for door knocking, anything like that, if you ever want a QR code on that document and you're not quite sure how to go about making one for yourself, that's okay. I also had to learn how to do that when I got this job. But Scott Leroy Marketing is somebody that you can refer to. They will actually make a QR code for you. All you have to do is fill out a quick form. You search QR code, the form comes right up. You will just pop in your information. let them know what website you want to connect this QR code to, and then they'll be able to go ahead and generate that for you. And every time I've ever asked them to do that for me, they get that information back to me within the hour. Very helpful tool. It's free for you to utilize, and they're just here to help make your life a little bit simpler. So if that's something that you're not too worried about figuring out for yourself just yet, rely on Scott Leroy Marketing because they are here to assist you with your business. The other thing that I will mention as well is under agent resources. It is now a actual button rather than a drop down menu. The reason for that is they obviously want to make sure that we are supposed to have access to these resources. So if you guys click on that button up top, it's going to allow you to type in our market center number, which hilariously, you've seen this number 1,000 times already. Our market center number is 350. At some point, that will become probably your least favorite number because you've seen it so many times. If you hit log in after you've typed in 350, you'll notice that at the top of the page here, Agent Resources is now a drop-down menu. So underneath here, the one thing I'm going to point out, just out of respect for your time and to make sure we're not going too deep down a rabbit hole for the day, under agent resources, I always try to point out the training calendar. So under training and training calendar, Scott Leroy Marketing also offers live tech trainings every single day of the week. So Monday through Friday, they're offering you a Zoom-based training that you guys can hop into all about your KW technology. I point this out for two reasons. One, everyone's got a slightly different schedule, and we know that when it comes to real estate. So if Tuesdays and Thursdays are a little hard for you to finagle in order to participate in Jules and Leah's trainings, maybe Mondays and Wednesdays are just a better convenience for you. You guys can take advantage of jumping into those live trainings through Scott Leroy Marketing. The other thing that I point out as well is you'll notice that Jules and Leah talk about different topics every single week. Maybe if you were looking to do a smart plan for the first time and Jules and Leah just talked about it, but you couldn't make that class, I don't want to wait 2 more weeks until they talk about it again. You guys can peruse this calendar here because you'll see that they've got different information that they're talking about every single day. So depending on what topic you're looking for, do consider checking out their calendar because they may be talking about that topic right around the corner, and it can help you guys on your journey to work with that technology for the first time or just to learn something new. So pay attention to that. All you have to do is click on the particular event. It will tell you what that topic will be and also the Zoom link so that you guys can hop right on. But it's 1 to 2 p.m. And again, Scott Leroy Marketing is going to be a great resource for teaching you all about your KW technology as well. So that is one thing I also share here. And then the other piece that I always mention as well is under this store drop down menu. Actually, if you just click on store, let's be honest, if you just click right on store, it's going to take you to agentstore.com. The reason I point this out is because one of the biggest questions I receive when you guys first join is always about business cards and how do I order them? What should they look like? Is that something that's included with my onboarding? The unfortunate answer is it's not included with onboarding, but it is something you guys can easily tackle through the partnerships that we have. So if you guys go to agentstore.com, you'll see that they have business card and name tag templates that already exist. All you have to do is click on whichever you're looking to order, or you can do a package where you get multiple items. But click right in there. The next thing it will ask you is what firm are you affiliated with? You can say Keller Williams, and it's going to ask you to identify your market center because what it's going to do with that information is populate half of the stuff that already needs to be on that card. Then it's up to you just to fill in your own personal information, include a photo if you would like. But there's tons of templates out there that you guys can kind of go through, decide what makes the most sense for you or what you feel would best represent your business. If there is anything that maybe not quite the fit you're looking for and you'd prefer to do something custom for you and your new brand, you are more than welcome to go, of course, through like Etsy or through Vistaprint or Canva or anything like that. You have that opportunity. The only reason I point out Agent Store, one is because the templates make life easy. So creativity is not your strong suit. It's an easy button to just go right through and get that business card ordered. Two, their price point is pretty competitive. For me, and again, you always have to adjust for inflation. But when I first started this job 3 years ago, I got my business cards through Agent Store and it only cost me $35 to get 500. So it's a pretty good deal, all things considered. And again, it'll just depend on what template you're looking for and what you want to do with that card. But this is going to be a really good avenue for you to explore anyone who's looking to get that business card or a name tag. The biggest piece that I always point out in this conversation, if you are a provisional broker, you will need to get approval on your business card design before you print it. And that approval needs to come from Tasha Viney, and she is our BIC associate. So you'll want to make sure that Tasha said that that's good to go, because you can risk the I printed, I paid for it, and I can't use it. That's not what we want. That's what we want to avoid. So do run your design by Tasha. I would say 9 times out of 10, most of these templates are going to be in compliance, but it cannot hurt to double check that before we place that order. And then Tasha will tell you if there's anything that she needs you to adjust before you make that order. And then you know that at least you're purchasing something you can take advantage of. So keep that in the back of your brain. Again, if you're provisional broker, which is 90% of our newer agents, basically if you've not yet completed post licensing, you're a provisional broker, so you will need to get that approval on your design. If you are broker status, you do have a little bit more freedom and flexibility. I would still recommend consulting with Tasha if you've got any questions along the way, just to make sure that you're not falsely advertising anything. But that is one thing that I always share with you guys. And you can either type in agentstore.com in your web browser, or you can find it through Scott Leroy Marketing's website. But that it takes us right back. Now that I've closed out of that, we are right back at that new agent button. So we've looked at these 2 top options. If we scroll down a little bit further, you're going to see several Facebook pages that we encourage you to join. The first at the top here is going to be our internal Facebook page. It's a private group, and it is just our agents and our leadership team. So this is a great way for you guys not only to communicate with each other, whether that's about open house opportunities, if you were trying to find a property of a certain criteria and you're not finding anything MLS, you want to see if anyone's got something like that coming soon. If you are looking for connections with a vendor that may be able to service, China Grove, which is a little bit further out. If you are looking to connect with a referral partner and just don't know anyone in the area, but want to know if there's someone you should be in contact with, there's tons of different ways you guys can connect with our other agents in this office and receive assistance and collaboration through them. The other point as well is that your leadership team is on there in addition. So we are constantly making sure you guys are updated on all things KWB. You know about the upcoming trainings and opportunities. You guys can see that we send out welcome posts. We also are there to celebrate achievements for our agents. So it's a really fun page to be part of, and it really does give you KW Valentine at a glance any day of the week. So be part of that, because you'll notice it's a very active Facebook page and a great way to get your information out. Underneath, very similar in concept, we have KW Valentine Strategic Alliance Partners. This is going to be a Facebook group, again, private group. It's our agents, our leadership team, and our vendor partners. So at Keller Williams Valentine, we do have a vendor program that Angela Bueno has really crafted very thoroughly. We've got some wonderful vendors in that program. And the really cool thing about what it takes to become a vendor in that program is that you actually have to be vetted by another KW Valentine agent. So not only is this somebody that you can trust, because obviously their services are revered, but it's revered by somebody else in this office. So that does help to make sure that it's somebody you can rely on to get the job done and get the job done right. So if you guys are ever, especially being newer, if you don't know who to reach out to for a certain service to assist your client, you can absolutely be part of that Facebook group. It will allow you connection to a lot of those vendor partners. The other thing I mentioned in addition to this is that through that Facebook group, they're also communicating as our vendors. They are talking about upcoming promotions that they're offering. They're talking about new services that they're offering. So there's tons of great information that they're sharing. The other cool thing about Facebook is that you can use the little search bar icon in the top right, and you can search plumber. And anybody who's a plumber in our system will come right up in that little Facebook group. So it makes it easy to pull those quotes and just be in communication and build those relationships. So keep that in mind as another great Facebook page to join. And underneath that, we do have the Charlotte Area Realtor Network. So obviously just allowing you to connect with other agents in Charlotte, whether they're Keller Williams or another firm. And then underneath that is KW Carolinas region. So this is going to be all of the Keller Williams offices within the Carolinas, all as part of one Facebook group. And this way, again, you guys can communicate with agents in the area, but maybe not specific to Charlotte. So if you were very adamant about partnering with another KW agent for a referral, that's a great way for you to get plugged in with them. In addition to that, I also mentioned that they also offer different trainings and events on a regional level that you guys are welcome to attend. So they'll be posting about those as well on that Facebook page so that you guys can plug into those in addition to what's offered in this office. Let's go a little bit lower. Underneath, you'll notice that we have colorisms. Colorisms, while I'm not going to click on it today, it actually will open up to like a PDF breakdown. And it's basically a dictionary. It's going to give you all the terminology that's specific to KW that you've probably heard from time to time in the hallways here, or maybe you will be hearing shortly. If you're not quite sure what any of those terms mean, you are not alone. It also took me a while to understand some of the language that's used in this office. In which case, if you were a little shy, or maybe it's just an odd hour and you came across something in your reading, you weren't quite sure what that meant. You guys can click on colorisms. It takes all of that terminology and it breaks it down into real world definitions. So you have something to compare it to. Obviously, capping is usually a pretty familiar concept or one that we can wrap our brains around fairly easily when it comes to a 145. That's not really, there's not much indication as to what that is in the title. So when it comes to like a 145 or anything like that, you want to know more information on it, colorisms will help break down that information for you. If you ever have a question, you are welcome, of course, to ask leadership team. You're welcome to ask another agent in the office. You don't ever have to feel shy, but I do understand if you prefer to just read about it rather than ask the question. Below that, though, again, just kind of hubbing, like keeping a hub of all the immediate resources for you as a new agent in this office. Underneath here is going to be hopefully a somewhat familiar site. We have access to answers.kw.com, which anybody who's met with me to go through your onboarding process, we talked about answers.kw.com as part of your technology resources. If you guys are looking for answers on either how to do something for the first time, or maybe you're trying to troubleshoot something specifically, answers.kw.com is an entire website based on frequently asked questions about KW Command, DocuSign, similar platforms where you can type in your questions and those answers will then populate in different articles. So it does make it pretty easy to get a feel for what you need to do to proceed with whatever you're working on. There's also some screenshots as well, so there's a visual element. And there is a sister website to this called ideas.kw.com for those of you who are interested. And that's a website dedicated just to your feedback and your suggestions about KW Command. So as you're working through, especially as a new time user, if you're noticing that there's something that you like about Command, but you wish it was an available feature on a different page just to make life easier, anything like that, or hey, actually, I would recommend changing this to that. They want to make sure that Command, of course, is a user-friendly platform. And whether you have experience with another CRM or this is your first time using one, of course, we want to make sure Command is the best thing out there. So feel free to drop any suggestions at ideas.kw.com. And who knows, maybe you'll see one of those rolled out in the next update done by Labs. So keep that in your brain, guys. We would love to see your feedback get published and make life easier for the rest of us. Underneath, you'll notice that there is an opportunity to download the Ignite course materials. So if you don't already have that PDF copy, you can download them here. Most of you should have received them via email at this point in time. If you also just forget where to access them on this page, shoot me an email. I'll make sure you have that information. Beneath that is going to be access to our training calendar. I will tell you guys there are multiple ways on this website to get to the same information. I do try my best to show you the most convenient ways. I already feel like this was a lot of digging and scrolling to get to here, so I'm going to show you a much easier way. We're going to bypass that portion for right now. And underneath that, again, just kind of highlighting those key resources for you as you get started is booking conference rooms. So if you noticed in this office, we have 5 different conference rooms and we actually have 2 focus rooms. So our conference rooms vary in their capacity. They can hold between 4 and 8 people in the room, and they are scattered throughout this office. We also have 2 focus rooms, and our focus rooms are actually independent work areas. It's one single desk in a small office space. So depending on whether or not you are looking for just a private area to work, you may be opting for that focus room. If you are meeting with anybody else and it's a more collaborative conversation, you may want to go for the conference room route. When it comes to conference rooms, we do just ask again, if you're going for solo work, use the focus rooms just to make sure every resource is on rotation for the agents in the office. But conference rooms are to be used for collaboration with other agents, conversations with your clients, coaching, consultations, anything like that can all be appropriate uses of those conference rooms. And you are welcome to use them for free anytime you would like. Our one request is that we ask that you reserve that room, whatever you are using, 2 hours or less during the workday. And that's again, just to make sure the resource is available for other agents as well. And then the process to book that room is fairly simple. Again, whether it's the focus room or a conference room, you guys can actually just click register, or you can, my favorite is if I go up to the more tab, and then go down, there's schedule a conference room right here. So if you go to schedule a conference room, it will take you to a website called skeda.com. And Skeda is going to actually open up into a wonderful spreadsheet where you can actually just drag and drop your reservation wherever there is availability. At the top of the page, you'll see all the different conference rooms and the capacity that they hold. So you know what room to expect your reservation in, and also know if it's going to be an appropriate size for you. And then down the left-hand side, it's going to be all of the times during the day. So it's really easy to visualize when certain rooms are available and when they are not. And then you can just drop in your reservation. All you guys will have to do as a new user is just create a login. I always recommend use the KW email you have just so that you don't ever have to guess as to what email you used. Any password you'd prefer to set for that is more than fine. If you ever experience any difficulty booking these rooms, I am an admin on the page. So just shoot me an email or stop by my office and I'll go in on the back end and I'll help you guys out with that. So let me know where I can be of assistance for you. But that, in short, guys, was everything just, if you can believe it, under one quick button here on this site. So now you'll know what I mean when I said that this is like, there's a lot to this site, in a positive way, of course. So there's tons of resources available, and we're going to go ahead and just scroll down our homepage here. It does, I always joke, you guys are going to be like, oh my God, this class is going to take forever because she's taking 30 minutes on just the first two things. The answer is yes, and I go faster as we go forward. So the first couple are usually a little bit more information heavy. But when we're scrolling down, you will come across a staff directory reminding you of who is on your leadership team. So you can have an idea of who does what in this office and how you can reach out to them. So this is going to, again, just highlight everybody. And I do apologize. I know that these kind of like jolt out to the side. It's based off of the monitor dimensions. When I'm doing it on my computer, everything looks beautiful. But then when I come in here, I always look like I'm blind. So this is going, again, just to highlight everybody on leadership and make sure that you know how to get in touch with them. If you ever do not know who to field a specific question to, you are welcome to come back to me. I will always make sure that your question gets to the right person. When we go a little bit lower, Leah, one of our tech coordinators, has done a wonderful job of creating two videos that kind of highlight some key info that could be something that you're referencing at any point in time. So these two videos, and I will tell you, I highly recommend you watch them, especially ahead of your first transaction. The bottom video here where it says KW Command and DocuSign, this is going to explain in a 25-minute overview how the two websites and platforms correlate to each other, how you can sync them up so that when you're in your KW Command opportunity, all you have to do is hit go to transaction and it'll pull all of your documents out of DocuSign for you. So it's a very, very helpful tool to make sure everything's linked up. You, of course, want to make sure you can access everything you need. So that is going to be the best way to go about setting that up. And it starts just by including your NERDS number in a specific setting. And Leah will go over all of that in that video so that within 25 minutes, you guys are ready to go. And then you have one less thing to worry about during that first deal. The one above that is actually about submitting commission requests. So once you go under contract on your property and you are ready to submit a commission request, so Lynn knows that she can expect a closing, the check for you, you'll want to submit a commission request. And so Leah is walking you through exactly how that's done in Command, because it will just go alongside your opportunity where you're logging all those documents anyways. A little bit lower, we will arrive at our office calendar. The easiest way, of course, to get to this information is just by clicking that upper tab there. It will drag you to this spot so that you actually don't have to do any scrolling yourself. And I know a lot of us, again, we did look at this calendar together already during our onboarding appointments, but I will point out that the easiest way to view and visualize this information is by clicking here for a full calendar view above the actual widget that we're looking at. You click on that, it will open up into a very, very legible way where you can visualize everything that's happening in this office, because it's very rare that you'll find a day where there's not something going on in here. So that is a good thing, and we hope to see your faces in here as often as possible and taking advantage of a lot of those trainings and opportunities. We will always tell you we have all the resources needed for you to succeed. It's just up to you on how much you would like to plug into those resources. So by starting with this calendar, you'll have an idea of everything that's being brought into the office, whether it's an in-person training or it's a Zoom call that you can hop onto. So this way you know exactly what to anticipate and decide for yourself whether it's something you'd like to plug in with. By clicking on any of the given events, you'll get a full description about that event. You'll be able to see more information. If there is any registration necessary, you'll see in this case there is no registration necessary, but I can copy this information right onto my calendar right from here. That's a pretty neat feature. Anything that does require registration, there is always a link posted. Anytime that there is a Zoom associated with that training that you can use instead of in-person participation, the Zoom is listed as well. So just peruse through those details because they will cover a lot of information so that you have a full scope of what to expect with that class. And then, of course, if you've got any questions based off what you're seeing, please let me know. The biggest thing I always tell you is that it's very rare you're going to find anything on this calendar that's for a specific audience. So please take a look because there's so many different things you guys can jump into if it benefits you in any possible way, personally, professionally. We would love to have you in the room. So look at the calendar, decide what that looks like for you and your business, and start getting plugged in. We would love to have you. The other thing I will mention as well with this is, of course, if you've got questions, please let me know. This is kind of my baby in a way. I do a lot of work with this calendar, so I could probably tell you just about anything else you'd like to know about it. And then just as a reiteration, in case anybody forgot, once you have logged into your new Google Drive account or your new Gmail through KW, the coolest thing you can do is hit add Google Calendar on the bottom right here, guys. This will copy the entire live calendar to your Google Drive calendar. And you have the ability to turn it on and off. So you can see those events when you'd like to know what you want to plug into. You can turn them off if they ever get distracting and kind of bury your actual schedule somewhere. Because I will say there is a lot. So I will take us out of the calendar for the moment, but you guys can fast forward even into December and next year if you want an idea of what to expect. As we scroll beyond the calendar, we are just highlighting some of those recurring meetings so you know when to expect different things. If you have not yet attended a team meeting, they're done on the second and fourth Tuesday of every month at 11 o'clock in the morning. They are tons of fun, and I do love having people in the office for them. We cover all different content. We celebrate, we have fun, we laugh. Sometimes Teresa rolls in on roller skates. So it's always something to be excited about. That we are giving you a full scope of market updates, forums updates. We're getting updates directly from Tasha. We're getting updates from Jules and Leah. There's so much conversation happening, and it also gives an overview of what trainings are right around the corner. So definitely something to stay aware of and be part of, whether it's in person or Zoom. And then the other thing with team meetings that's pretty neat is that we invite our vendor partners to join us out here in the hub. So if you guys are interested in getting connected and building relationships with those vendors, coming to team meeting, you'll automatically get introduced to at least 3 or 4 if you stop in the hub to chat with them. Sometimes they even have snacks. Like really a win-win at that point. We also have highlighted our ALC meetings and our Tech Tuesday. So Tech Tuesdays are every Tuesday from 1 to about 2:30 if you guys have questions and want to stick around. And those are geared specifically to our newer agents. We're starting at basic levels with that KW technology to give you a nice introductory lesson. And then on the left-hand side, when it comes to ALC meetings, those are going to be our Agent Leadership Council. We've got several different representatives, we'll call it, from KW Ballantyne, who have volunteered to serve different committees at our office and our market center. And with that being said, we do very seriously consider your opinions and your weigh-in as agents in our office. We want to make sure your voices are heard, and your ALC basically is intended to do just that. They're here to make Ballantyne the best place to call home, and we do take a lot of those bigger decisions, and we refer to our ALC to get their votes. So ALC meetings are something you guys can sit in on and observe at any point in time. We just ask that you let them hold the floor. However, if you ever miss an ALC meeting, there is a way to access their meeting minutes so you know exactly what conversations were had and exactly what you can expect moving forward. Beneath that, just highlighting again, Sabre Romeo is our wonderful broker in charge. We also have Tasha Viney as our BIC associate. So you guys have not one, but 2 resources you can refer to. Sabra is really obviously the broker in charge. So she oversees everything at Ballantyne. However, she is not physically in the office very often. Sabra actually, her mother is 101. Is that not crazy? Her mother is 101. So Sabra actually is with her mother most of the time, especially after COVID. So just a little bit bit too risky to be in the office with all these people. So she's at home with her mother, still very available by email and phone if you guys need to reach her. And she's truly lovely, as is Tasha. But Tasha is in the office 3 days a week. So we've included her office hours there. So you know exactly when to expect her in this building and when you can pop by for a simple question. But otherwise, you can reach out to either of these lovely ladies through by phone or email. What I always say when it comes to the two of them and deciphering who to field a question to, it's an administrative question, i.e. not so urgent. You can pretty much always field that question to Tasha and she'll get you that answer right away. If you guys have a legal hair on fire moment, go straight to Sabra. Always the easiest. Of course, both ladies are here to help you and they can answer just about every question under the sun. And when it comes to the legal stuff, we don't want to waste any time. We want to make sure Sabra's thoroughly aware. Underneath both of their wonderful contact information and next to their photos, you're going to see some information here about renewing your license. I know it's something we're definitely not thinking about just yet because June is so far away. But for those of us who are renewing for the very first time, if you've got questions about what that entails and making sure that you're not missing anything and you've got everything under control before the deadline, there's some charts there that you can click on that open up so that you have an idea of what you are required to obtain or to handle before the renewal period. And it also will allow you the opportunity to log into your own accounts and stuff with the real estate commission so that you can get a full scope of anything you're missing. So there's tons of great information shared there. Again, as we roll closer to June, that may become relevant for you. So just know that it's available. Beneath that, we have our amazing ALC. So we do have three committees currently. We have a social and KW Cares committee, and these three agents here actually serve that committee. So our social and KW Cares committee is focusing on our fun parties and events. They're also our charitable arm, which is a wonderful, wonderful thing. So everyone loves social committee because they're just super fun, and everyone loves to have those conversations with them. We also have career development, and career development focuses specifically on the trainings that are brought in here. So if you guys are ever curious what to expect with trainings coming up, or maybe want to voice an opinion about trainings you'd like to see on the calendar, you can relay that information to our career development. We also have growth committee, and growth committee focuses specifically on building your downline. So for those of you who are interested in building your profit share and getting passive income through profit share, talk to growth committee. They'll explain different scripts to you. They will give you opportunities to get in front of the next generation of realtors. There's tons of ways that you guys can get connected and build that really quickly and early into your career if you want that to be a focal point. So know that all of these wonderful top producers are here to help you. They're happy to get to know you and meet you. If there's any feedback you'd like to provide, any conversations you'd like to sit in on, they do meet with their respective committees on the first Tuesday of every month. See that on the calendar, so if you forget that, don't worry. And then they all get together collectively for that giant ALC meeting where we are asking them to weigh in on different decisions moving forward with Valentine. So please do connect with them, even if it's just tapping them on the shoulder in the hall and getting to know them. They're some wonderful, wonderful people, and each of them has done such a wonderful job in real estate building a successful business. So if nothing else, you guys can always glean information in that department from them. A little bit lower, we are looking over our productivity coaches. So for those of you who may have forgotten, or maybe it's not quite fresh in your brain, as a brand new agent in this office, we do offer you two immediate resources, kind of similar in tandem to mimic a mentor in a way. We don't actually offer you a direct mentor, but we've got coaches and transaction partners. Your coach is here to help make sure that your business is set up for success. We want to make sure you're doing all the right things in that first year, especially as you're getting your footing and getting the hang of things. They're also going to be meeting with you every single week, you and some other agents as well that are newer to KWB. And you guys are going to be discussing everything under the sun in terms of really what it means to be a realtor and what you guys should be doing. They're going to wrap your brains around mindset, making sure you guys are moving forward with the right head on your shoulders. They are also going to talk about lead generation tactics. They are going to go over scripts that you guys can implement in your business to help get success with converting clients. They're also going to go over your goals. They want to get to know you. They want to get to know how they can support you in that first year of real estate. And they want to help make sure that you're being held accountable to that too, because it's really easy for me to say every morning, I'm going to get up and go to the gym. It's a lot harder to actually do it. And I'm going to tell you right now, 9 times out of 10, I don't do it. So having an accountability partner in your coach is going to be very helpful because it is so easy to say, this is what I want to achieve. But unless you've got somebody holding you accountable and making sure sure that you are doing all the right things to make that goal happen. It can be hard to achieve those goals. So they're here to make sure that you guys are hitting every single note that you'd like to see in your first year. Beneath that, we do have our transaction partners, as I mentioned. Your transaction partners, for those of you who may recall, they are going to be your contracts and forms experts. So they are here to make sure every single week they are meeting with you guys and they are chunking down the content in your contracts and forms. So that way you guys have a thorough understanding of how to fill them out. Ideally, after attending multiple sessions and learning ahead before that first deal, you guys could actually even craft like templates basically, as though you were selling your own house or buying your own house. You can craft templates so that you can refer back to them when that first transaction is underway. So that will be a very, very helpful conversation to have. Again, these are a wonderful resource for you as well for baseline questions. I always suggest, honestly, if it's, again, fairly administrative, a lot of times you guys can refer to your transaction partner to ask them a question about a contract or a form. If they don't know that answer, they'll refer you up the chain to Tasha or Sabra. But definitely a great starting point, just another resource to have. And again, somebody else who has such a successful business that you can learn so many great things from. So we will make sure that you are connected with a transaction partner and a coach. If you have not yet been connected with either of these individuals, the biggest thing is we wait until you have a Keller Williams email. And then we send you an email and we tell you all of the available meeting times for any transaction partner and for any coach. And you just respond back to that email and let us know what the best fit for your schedule would be on a regular basis. If you have not seen these emails, shoot me a quick email and let me know so that I can make sure that I got you in touch with the right people. A lot of you should have already received this email, but I know it's really easy for things to get buried in your inbox. So if you don't know where that is, just shoot me an email and I'll make sure you get connected right away. And then towards the bottom, there's just some helpful resources and some frequently used sites. The good news is that all of that information is available at the top. So we're just going to head back up that way. The next tab that we're going to peek at really quickly is the FAQ tab, and I do mean quickly. When we look at this tab, this has actually got some tiles that you'll see here, and they just have some generalized questions. So if you are not sure who does what on leadership, because if you don't know what a market center administrator is or what an MCA is, I don't blame you. That's a little confusing. And if you don't know what she handles on a regular basis, it can be hard to know who to direct your questions to. So if you're not sure what our roles entail, if you hover over any of these tiles with your mouse, you'll be able to see exactly who on leadership handles that responsibility and how you can connect with them. So that way it makes, again, just a little bit easier to decipher who handles what and who to reach out to. But as I mentioned before, if you don't know who to reach out to or your question is just not even remotely on this page, just reach out to me via email, guys. I will make sure that I'm connecting you with the best person on our leadership team. Under here, we do have on-demand training. I am going to jump over that About tab, although you guys are welcome to explore it in your free time. On-demand training happens to be one of the most popular tabs, as is the office resources. So on-demand training, and this is where I'm going to ask you guys to bear with me. It's going to be a password protected tab. So you'll want to make sure you have this password written down. And for those of us who are in person, I'm going to make your lives super easy. If you see over there where it has our Wi-Fi password, it is the exact same thing as the Wi-Fi password, but there's no exclamation point on this one. So it's going to be capital B for those of us online. It's capital B, lowercase a, M, C, 350. And that will let you write in. If anybody missed that online, I will say it again here in just a minute. But once you have typed in that password, it's going to allow you access to the information behind this tab. The reason this is one of everyone's favorites, I think, is because it allows you guys to get, again, a lot of training and when it matters most in your business. So on the left-hand side here under On Demand, the first thing I'm going to show you is one of my favorite things. This is our KW Valentine YouTube channel. So this is where we house a lot of recordings of different trainings. And so that way, if you guys miss anything because you were traveling, maybe you were sick, maybe your kiddo was sick, we want you to be able to be present in those moments and take rest when you need it. But if you miss any information that you were just dying to have, this is a way for you guys to jump back and figure out what you missed in real time, so to speak. The reason that I will tell you this is not going to be every single training. First and foremost, you are going to see at the very bottom here, there's created playlists. If you guys kind of use that arrow down there, it'll tell you exactly what trainings, all organized by playlist, what is on this site, because it's not everything. These are going to be predominantly our recurring meetings and trainings. So my orientation, our KWB Keys to Success, team meetings. We've also got how to get paid faster. A lot of that exists right here on this website. And the reason for that is obviously we get these recordings off of anything that's available through Zoom. So if it's not Zoom capable or it was not a Zoom option, then we don't have a recording usually. And again, these are recurring meetings. So if you miss an installment of it, you can get a update through that recording. For special events, even if they are available through Zoom, we are not publishing those recordings. And the reason for that is because we really, really, really want you guys to participate live for those, whether it's on Zoom live training or I am sitting in the room, I'm participating live. And the reason is not to inconvenience you. I know it sounds crazy, but the reason behind that is actually just so we can make sure that you guys are able to get your questions asked and answered. That's the biggest thing is when you're watching a recording, like, cool, I got some insight and I have some questions. You don't have someone to turn to at that point. It's nice to be able to pause and raise your hand and ask that question and get some clarification before moving forward. So as much as possible, we do encourage live participation, although we do know that life happens and we want you to know that there is this additional resource in the event that life happens for you as well. The other thing I will mention too is that I am the one who's updating these recordings and adding to this YouTube. I'm usually doing that every week, every 2 weeks. So there's usually a lot of really relevant content on here. If you're ever looking for something specific though, and you are noticing it's not yet on this website, please let me know because there's a chance that I either have the recording and just didn't get a chance to post it yet, or that I have the recording, but YouTube didn't like the recording. So I may be able to still send that information to you and it just wasn't able to get published. So keep me in mind as you're looking through this. I'm happy to connect you with any specific recordings you may be looking for if you don't already see them on here. But that will be a very helpful tool, especially for those of us with more complicated schedules. Sometimes it can be really hard to make an afternoon time slot work for a training if you know you've got to pick up kiddos or you know that you've just got a long-standing commitment. We want to make sure that, of course, you guys can still get access to that info. On the right-hand side, command on demand, very, very similar. You guys should already actually be familiar with this, at least conceptually. Under on demand in this tab, this is taking you to Scott Leroy Marketing's YouTube channel. So when we onboarded you guys, we looked at this, or at least we talked about it a little bit. Scott Leroy Marketing has done very similar concept. They have uploaded tons of recordings, whether they are just quick little videos to full-length trainings. There's tons of information here all surrounding your Keller Williams technology and all the things you can do with it. So if you guys are looking again for some additional technology support, maybe you're trying to do a smart plan from home this weekend and you're not quite sure where to go or what to do, you guys can refer back to Scott Leroy Marketing's YouTube channel in addition to Jules and Leah's, and you'll see that there are several different videos already out there that you can kind of follow along with in order to accomplish that process. I'll take us out of Scott Leroy Marketing's. And then again, Leah has put her helpful videos back here. These are the same from the home page. So not new information here, just another way to get to it. And then there's some information about Ignite as well. Most of you have received this information via email, but if you've got any kind of uncertainty or want to know more about Ignite, you can read a little bit more about it right here. But for the sake of time, I am going to move forward with you guys to this office resources tab. So I'm going to take us back up to the top here because before clicking on it, I just want to hover my cursor over the Office Resources tab. The reason I do that is some of these items in that drop-down menu, I just think are easier to access from the drop-down than actually clicking into the tab. So what you will see listed here, we have advertising guidelines. So for those of us who are not sure what needs to be on our print marketing or our digital marketing, and I surely don't want to go to real estate jail in my first 2 weeks, that makes you one of many. So in that event, and we want to help you out with understanding what you can and cannot have, advertising guidelines is a really easy reference guide. It's going to cover a lot of the key information for you. You guys can also actually find logo files for Keller Williams Valentine in that resource as well. And then for those of us, again, provisional broker, you are going to want to try and reach out to Tasha, especially for business card approval, and maybe just phone her up for some silly little questions that you think come along the way. And I say silly, not because they actually are silly, but you're probably going to think that it's a silly question. She will not. She'll appreciate the fact that you don't want to go to real estate jail. So advertising guidelines are there. The other reason I mentioned that as well is, again, if we are broker status, we've got a little bit more flexibility and freedom to what we can share. That doesn't necessarily mean I know all the things. So with that being said, if you are broker status but want to make sure that you've got everything the way it needs to be, you are going to want to reference the advertising guidelines because they'll at least, again, give you some support and guidance through that. Beneath that is a concession request. So we know, hopefully, that not every transaction is by the book. Sometimes there's some additional things that need to be updated, and maybe we need to refer to a concession letter, especially if maybe you want to cover, somebody's home warranty as a nice gesture to your clients. If you're covering their home warranty, you will want to request a concession letter because you're just taking that out of your commission. But we obviously, as a firm, need to be aware that that's a thing that's happening. So we know when that check comes in that, okay, like that's why that's that number instead. So if you guys do need to request a concession letter, the easiest way to do it is click on the concession request drop down item. It's going to take you to a Google form where you guys can actually fill in basic information. There's a series of questions there basically that Tasha would have been asking you guys anyways. So go ahead and fill out the answers to each of those questions, and it will help Tasha to draft a concession letter so that she can shoot that back over to you as quickly as possible. So that would be the most efficient way to request that information. Lower on the menu, you'll see the the do not call list. So the do not call list, I do think everyone's at least familiar with that concept. There are people who specifically asked you not to call them, okay? We do not just want to avoid calling them because they don't want to hear from us. They actually can be a little angry sometimes about the fact that you've called them and they've asked to be on that list. So you guys are not only subject to potentially thousands of dollars in fines by contacting the wrong person, but you guys are also potentially on for court time as well. So that's a double whammy and no fun at all. So rather than contacting the incorrect person, for those of us who do need to be aware of who's on that list, click on the do not call list item on that, guys. It will allow you step-by-step instructions of how you can register so that you know exactly who's on that list and who I am not to call so I don't get in trouble. But those are the 3 items specifically I just think are a lot easier to access from that drop down than actually within the tab. But now that we've talked a little bit about those items, I'm going to click on Office Resources for you. You're going to see here that you have a password as well. It's the same password that I already shared with you. So if you did not get a chance to write it down or type it and you want to or if you just want to confirm you have it right, I'm going to read it one more time. So it's a capital B, lowercase a, M, C, 350. And that will let you write in. And once we're in the office resources, so 2 quick things that I mentioned just looking at the top here. For I think everyone usually on this call is at least North Carolina licensed. So North Carolina under general forms here, if you select get forms, this will take you to a Google Drive folder that our broker in charge, Sabra, actually drafted and put together. She has housed tons of different materials in here for your use and for your benefit. She felt that a lot of these forms were what she was being asked for most frequently. So rather than have you guys have to wait for her to get them to you, you now have access to them in a Google Drive folder. The reason I go all this length to explain like the origin of this Google Drive folder is because I like to make a point of this is not everything you guys are responsible for obtaining. This is not your state contracts or your state or anything like that. This is specific to Keller Williams Ballantine. These are forms just for us. So this is going to have our W-9. If you guys ever do a referral, this is going to have septic and sewer information in it, forms for that, because Sabra does like to collect that with just about every transaction. Referral agreements exist in here. You'll notice that we also have disclosures about partnerships. We do have E&O information. We have some fun things as well, like buyer walk-in to walk through. So it takes you through the step-by-steps of your responsibilities, which can be a helpful handout. So just tons of different great information. Working with real estate agents as well is included here for buyers and for sellers. So just make sure you're grabbing the right one. But tons of information lives in this Google Drive folder. And it goes all that link to explain that because in your DocuSign, once you have correctly linked it with your command, after you watch Leah's video, you will have access to all the state contracts and forms in DocuSign. If you don't have them in DocuSign or you prefer to get them through zip forms, which is available as a kind of like branch off of Canopy. You'll have access to them all that way. That's going to be where you find the state side of things. And in this Google Drive folder is our KW Valentine specifics. Between the two, you'll have everything you should need. But if you're starting in one location and realizing something's not showing, check the other location. Check your DocuSign if you start in this Google Drive and vice versa. Between the two, you will have access to everything you need. Again, this is North Carolina specifically. So if we come back to this tab for anybody South Carolina licensed or when you become South Carolina licensed, those forms for South Carolina exist on the right-hand side. In the middle, we also have office checklists. If you click on get checklist, you'll open up again to a wonderful Google Drive folder. And Sabra's actually created different checklists for your review. So you can click on them. She's explained to you no matter what state, North or South Carolina, what side of the transaction you're on. She's given you step-by-steps of what you guys are responsible for handling. So if it is your first transaction ever, or if it is your first transaction in that state or on that side, you guys know exactly what to anticipate, what you're responsible for to do the best service for your clients. And she's just really drafted a wonderful document so that you can follow along. We know those first few transactions are not muscle memory and we don't expect them to be, but we want you guys to still go in with the utmost confidence. So if these assist you in making sure that you feel confident walking through that first deal because you can sit there and check off everything you've done and or go back to items you may have missed, then we want you to have access to this form, which is why it's in this Google Drive folder. You're welcome just to reference it. You're welcome to print it off and actually sit there and go through it. But she's done a great job of highlighting your responsibilities and any time frames that are associated with those responsibilities. Take us back. Underneath that, we do have access to the CE shop. This is going to be kind of quick. The CE shop is one of 2 real estate education sources that we partner with. So you will have discounts available to you if you choose to use the CE shop for future education. The CE shop, just so you know, is self-paced learning. It's all online, not live, not Zoom, none of that. It's all self-paced. So we're going to hit find classes just so we can take a peek at their website because it is a dual branded website with our office. When we're on the CE Shop site, you're going to see there's tons of great information. Again, out of respect for your time, I'm only going to touch on a couple pieces. The first, obviously, with self-paced learning, we know that's either a great fit for people's learning or it's terrible. I either succeed and I got like 100% or I got a 50. So I don't want anybody to necessarily commit to self-paced if you're kind of dabbling with the idea of it, but you don't necessarily know until you try whether or not it's going to be a success for you. So if you're interested in trying before you buy, you guys can do a free trial with the CE shop of self-paced learning for 1 week. And if you loved it, it was a great experience, you're ready to register, you can drop in your credit card information and continue with the course. If you hated it because it just was not the fit, you really do need that live instruction. You guys can walk away without any skin in the game. There's no consequence to you, but it's an opportunity for you to test the waters and see if that's going to be a good fit for you. The other thing I mentioned with the CE shop is obviously that you can do your pre, post, and CE through this particular source. So there's tons of opportunity for you guys to get your education underway. Know that they do, through our partnership, offer different discounts. You'll see that there's different packages offered. You can actually see in real time what the discount is and what it's doing to that price point. So it can make things a lot more easy for you to obtain, having that discount added to it. The CE shops discounts do fluctuate. They change them all the time. They also do 1-day sales. Anytime they're doing a 1-day sale, I will post what that discount code is to our group Facebook page first thing in the morning, so that way that day you can take advantage of it at any point in time, whether it's 25% off to 45% off. There's a way for you guys to take advantage of the sale. So know that the CE shop will offer different discounts to you. And then the very last thing I tend to mention is we got to scroll. It used to be at the top and now it's all the way at the bottom. For those of us who plan to have like a heavy social media presence as part of our marketing, I know that's a very popular outlet at this point in time. Under Agent Essentials, Hot Topics is going to be one that I'm going to share with you. This is actually going to take you to a library of ebooks, podcasts, blogs, and videos. There's tons of information that not only can benefit you as the realtor, as something that can educate you and make you a better expert in your industry. This is also something that you guys, here's my favorite, it's a cheat code, right? So if you guys have to do if you guys want to do, I guess I should say, social media marketing, I am not the expert. You will want to talk to Jules and Leah for some expert advice. When it comes to social media marketing, though, I do know 2 things. The first is that it's important to be actively posting to your page almost every single day if possible. The other thing is that you want to diversify the content you're sharing because the algorithms will keep that in front of people. It will actually get new traffic to the page. So those are the two tidbits that I've learned. With that all being said, it can be really hard to generate original content every single day. So understanding that that can be a kind of time consumption factor for you, we want to make sure that you have an easy button. So on days when you're struggling to generate content or not sure what to share, not only is this an article or a blog you could read through yourself, but it's something you can just copy and paste the link to on your social media. So you're staying in front of people with relevant information and it didn't take you any additional time. So keep that in mind. Again, if social media marketing is key for you, this is going to be a lifesaver just to have as a backup in case there is a day that you wake up and you really just don't know what you want to put in front of people. They have some funny pieces in here. They have more informative pieces as well. So tons of great content that you can share at any point in time. And it's all at the very bottom. When you're on the home page of this site, you just go all the way to the bottom and under Agent Essentials, you will see Hot Topics. At the very bottom of our office resources page, you're going to come across like numbers to know. So what that is really is we are pointing out some information that you probably will see once or twice, but maybe not all the time. And you might not need it right now, but you may need it later on. With that being said, obviously our market center number is one that's going to stay in front of you all the time, but it's over here to the left. Then when it comes to firm license numbers, because you actually did go and you got that South Carolina license, you're filling out that application, you don't know what our firm license number is, you can find stuff like that. Those more infrequent numbers are going to stay right here on this page. Federal tax ID, again, for our referrals, we want to make sure we have that. So just know that a lot of this information exists at the bottom of our office resources page. I will truly not be offended for anybody who forgets that this is available here. So just shoot me an email if you're looking for a specific number, you're not quite sure where to find it. I will either double check this page for you and let you know where it is, or I will find whoever does know the number because I might not. But this is where you can find a lot of that relevant information. And that's, again, just all under our office resources tab. So just for giggles, office calendar, as I mentioned, just to show you, if I click on it, it does all the work for me. It takes me right to our calendar so that I can get that full view. Tech resources, a lot of these we will have covered. It's just housing them in a convenient drop-down menu. But feel free to check that out because Jules and Leah do a lot of work in updating that information regularly. Under the More tab, this is where I'm going to talk about a few items. I'm going to show you maybe one or two things. So More tab here, you're going to notice the third item down is our ALC meeting minutes. We talked about that already, actually. If you are not in attendance for a giant ALC meeting where they're talking about different decisions they want to implement, and you're not sure what you missed, but you want to know what to anticipate, you can reference this Google Drive folder and see those minutes from the last meeting so you know exactly what to expect. Underneath that is a prayer request form, and really that's more of a talking point than anything to begin with. And it's just to reiterate to you guys that we very seriously consider you to be parts of our family from the moment that you walk in the door and come on board. So with that in mind, please know that if there's ever anything going on in your lives, all you have to do is let us know. We are happy to help support you any way we can. That's really just checking in on you when we see you again. If that's sending you a quick text or a phone call, giving you a hug in the office, whatever that looks like, we are happy to do that for you. We just want to know so that we can help do our best to support you through anything that's going on in your world, whether it's you, a loved one, anything at all. Just let us know how we can help support you as a family. Below that is KW Perks. KW Perks is actually something that was unveiled a few years ago, maybe 2 years ago now. And Keller Williams partnered initially with Capstone Financial. I believe they're with Kaplan now. But this is a way for you guys to search the insurance marketplace to find different plans that may be a good fit for you. This is your first time being an independent contractor and you're a little bit too old to necessarily be on your parents' insurance or anything like that. Maybe you're just exploring other options in general because your spouse doesn't have insurance or maybe there's just a better fit. KW Perks will allow you to search that marketplace with some of your basic information and pull up all different rates so that you know exactly what you guys could buy into if that's the policy or plan that you're looking for. But it just makes health insurance and things like that a lot easier to come by because independent contracting, obviously the sad part is that it's not offered through your employer. I hate it too. But KW Perks is there to help you guys if that's something that is relevant in your world. We did talk about the scheduling a conference room drop down menu item. So we know that that is how we can go about booking one of our conference rooms. KWB firm exclusive listings, just a little further down. Those are going to be listings that are taken by other agents in this office. And rather than make them publicly available and putting them in MLS, these are listings they only want to offer to another KW Valentine agent. So with that being said, sometimes if we're looking for a property in MLS, we might not be able to find something that fits our buyer's criteria. You should definitely check the firm exclusive listings document here. It's a live document. See if there's another property that's not going to come up on MLS because it's not being advertised on MLS. It's only being advertised and marketed internally in this office. There may be something out there that fits exactly what your buyers are looking for, and you'll be provided the listing agent's information so you can contact them and see if you can schedule that showing. But keep that in mind. Again, as you guys go forward as well, you may want to consider having a listing that is only firm exclusive, in which case let us know. There are some different documents that you'll fill out for that, and Sabra will make sure that your listing is added to that spreadsheet. Strategic vendor partners just below there, I will click on it only because if you guys did not join that Facebook group with our vendor partners on it, because I forgot, I didn't know where it was, or I really just hate social media. That's all acceptable. I want you guys to know that that does not limit you from being able to connect with our vendor partners. There is a live Google Sheet here that tracks everybody in our vendor program. We have organized them by their industry so that you can see really quickly who all of our cleaning services are, all our maid services, if you will. And so you'll be able to see what company we partner with, who our representatives are, what their contact information is. And then you'll also see as well that it specifies the services that they offer and their website. So it's a really easy way for you guys to get connected again with vendors that have been vetted, that you know you can trust. So something to keep in mind, especially if we're newer and not quite sure who to reach out to. It's a great way for you guys to get connected with some reliable sources. The other great thing about this as well, of course, is that because it is live, if there's ever any changes, you'll see those in real time. I also make the point of letting you guys know that if you guys cross paths with someone that you think would be a great fit for the vendor program, you're welcome to let us know. Whether it's somebody that did a job for your client, or if it's literally someone that you're good family friends with and you're like, oh my God, they're the best like pressure washer I know, let us know, because that is something that is a win-win opportunity. They can pay to be part of our vendor program and immediately they have access to over 550 agents. Like, that's a big deal. So it is very, very helpful to share that information with us, not only for our benefit and your benefit, but for theirs as well. And if you're interested at all in making that recommendation, all you have to do is connect this vendor partner that is prospectively joining the program with Angela Bueno, who oversees the program. And Angela has business cards right at the front desk. So you can grab one on your way out. All you have to do is put them together on an email and let Angela do all the legwork. She'll explain everything, all the boring details about the vendor program. She will meet with them, do an office tour with them, and if they are interested in joining, they can sign up right on the spot. So know that this is a tool, guys. There is tons and tons of wonderful people, and you will see them in the office regularly. Back to our More tab. Outfront Magazine, just to be quick about it, very similar to the hot topic section that we talked about. If we're looking for an easy button when it's social media marketing, Outfront Magazine publishes every single month, and they literally tell you something you can post every single day. Now, I can't promise it's like a copy and paste ordeal. You might have to kind of do some creative juices on that, but you will be able to get an idea for what to post every single day. So again, it's just a little bit more, a little less of a mental load for you. You can just kind of hit that easy button and get that information out there on your social. The last piece here is discount codes for real estate education. I know we talked about the CE shop. We talked about how their discount fluctuates, but you can find that information on their website. We also partner with Superior School of Real Estate. So if you do prefer that in-person live training or even a Zoom live training, if you click on discount codes for real estate education, it will allow you access to all of those discounts. So CE Shop, we know, is a one-stop shop. You can get that code no matter what the amount is. Superior, we have a long-standing 30% off with them. And you'll see they actually have 3 different codes. It's actually 3 different websites. So one is for pre-licensing, one is for post-licensing, and one is for CE. So depending on what you're looking for, that will dictate which link you're using. So just pay a little bit of attention when you're clicking on that. The other thing I mentioned as well is not only is this something you can benefit from as an agent with your continuing education or your post-licensing, this is something you can share with other people. If you have a family member or a neighbor that's looking to get into real estate, that's a great thing you can do just to make their day. And honestly, it might be impactful enough that they're like, hey, can you kind of guide me into real estate? Like, where should I be looking? You refer them to Keller Williams, then you can add them to your downline. Like, there's so many positive things that can come out just from doing a nice gesture for somebody. The really cool thing is when you share this discount information, there is no obligation for anyone who uses it to join Keller Williams Valentine. So if you give it to your friend or your neighbor down the street and they take advantage of the 30% off their superior and then they decide that they want to join EXP, that's okay. They have that right to make that decision and you still made their day and made an impact in their real estate journey. So know that these are tools to share and take advantage of for yourself. And the very, very, very last thing, I swear, if you click I need tech help in the upper right corner, the good news is a lot of us should already know what this button does. It will take you to Jules and Leah's calendar. So if you need to book a one-on-one appointment with Jules and Leah, our in-house tech coordinators, at any point in time, because you want to have specific conversations about your KW technology relevant to your business, you guys can book 30 minutes of time for free with Jules and Leah by finding their availability. Pick what time slot works best for your schedule. Tell them who you are. Tell them whether you're meeting in person or whether or not you prefer to meet through Zoom, and let them know what you want to talk about so that they can prepare ahead of time and you guys can immediately jump into things when you get together. So that is the last thing on the site. Of course, we're going to look at today. Typically, if obviously I had prepared a slightly different way, we'll say, only because I forgot to exit out of a program on my computer before making my way down here. The program in particular, I can only log into it from one computer. So it's not going to let me log in for you guys. But what I was going to share with you for the last couple minutes is how you can do an email blast to all of our agents rather than like having to copy and paste all of their emails and stuff. There's a really, really easy way to do it that's going to immediately go to everyone's inbox. Normally, I would show you how to do that. I do have a pre-recorded like 5-minute video of me showing how to go about that. So I will make sure that anybody who is in attendance today, and I want to make sure I got everybody online. I'll make sure that everyone who's in attendance today gets a copy of that. I'm going to take a picture actually. Sorry, guys. I'm going to make sure you guys all receive a copy of that video. So if you do not already know how to go about that process, you have all the information you need, because I love email blasts because it is maximum results with very minimal effort. So that is big in my world. I want you to be efficient and I want you to see results. So I'm going to make sure that I send that to you guys as a thank you for attending this class. But before I let you guys go, there's 2 things I will say. One is that I talk really fast and I know that, and it is a problem and I'm sorry. So if I went a little too fast, first and foremost, my best recommendation is go back through this website at your leisure. Try and remind yourself what we clicked on, where things located on the page. If you think that you need a step further than that, you want to review what we discussed and hear me talk about it again, but you want to slow my voice down, you can reference the YouTube recording and slow down the recording when you're actually watching it. So that can be a really helpful way to go back through the info as well. So keep that in your mind. But before, obviously, I dismiss you guys to that, are there any questions at all based off of the beginning of this conversation to the very tail end that anybody has that they did not get a chance to ask already? Feel good in the room, okay? And online, usually you guys feel good enough that you don't like unmute yourself, but know that you can unmute and say it over the overhead, or you can drop it in the chat. So depending on your preference, I'm just going to give it a minute here to see if anybody speaks up. Right. Oh, I got one chat. Okay. No questions. Start saying here. Oh, you're welcome, Fanny. Thank you so much for being here. Awesome. Thank you, Deandra. Anybody else? I think so far we're good. But obviously, Janelle, if you've got any questions, you're welcome to drop them in here. But ladies, thank you so much for being online. Kashawn, thank you so much for being in person. You guys can all go about the rest. Oh my gosh, Janelle, do not apologize. You're totally fine. There will be a recording. So anything you missed, don't worry, you can catch it later. And it'll be available to you on our office YouTube channel. If you cannot find that on this page, just send me an email and I'll make sure you have access to it. But you guys are welcome to go about the rest of your day. I know it's Friday, so enjoy your weekends. And thank you so much for your time. And I will see hopefully everybody on Monday.